This is Margaret Ann Windsor. I'm continuing the tape I was doing, and I'm going to show a picture of my dad, King Edward VIII, married to um, Georgia O'Keeffe, Georgia O'Keeffe's sister, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe Windsor's my mom. And that's my lineage there. This is my mom, if you can see it. She was the baby. This is the double used to take out my dad. And Mary Wallace Simpson. This is a picture of my uncle George, who became the illegal George VI by selling out his brother and putting a 99-year seal on his theft. And the year I was born, they were planning my kidnapping at 41. This is Roosevelt. George and do they call her the Queen Mom, and Eleanor and Roosevelt's mom? How about that? Here's Elizabeth, the illegal monarch. Look at the long list of themes. Okay, here's the Kennedy. I want to get this in because Joe Kennedy was ambassador. He helped kidnap me. Now she's ambassador, his granddaughter, JFK's daughter. And everybody makes this man, who's a cold-blooded killer, John Kennedy. His dad helped kidnap me and torture. They were part of this ongoing torture of the Kennedys and stealing everything, British. And 50 years later, with me finding out myself, why in God's name would you put a 99-year seal on something? I've even got birth certificates of the twins showing the state of Alabama, actually mark through the date given to the twins a different year and different months. And it says on the birth certificates, you can't alter them anyway. Yet this was sent to me by the state of Alabama, and nobody will touch any of it. It's enough to look at the O'Keeffes, if you didn't know anything else, to look at my dad's, the lies they told about him. He never married Wallace Simpson. And to look at what happened, the United States installed their own monarch, which is George VI, and then Elizabeth and her brood, which are a part of the New World Order. And yes, Elizabeth and Charles have been photographed there on numerous occasions with the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and all these people who are controlling probably now, if not real soon. And by the way, Obama, when the government shut down, actually did a tape, in his speech, said that the New World Order was in place. Now, that's on YouTube, I believe. It's on YouTube, but there's videos of it. So now then, I've kind of lost it here trying to tell you that. So I want to go back to the so-called hospital where I'm locked up. The tox screen was never done. And they come in at 3 o'clock at night, and it was a black man and a white woman, and they shot me up in the arm. And I remember them saying, her veins aren't good. They left the sponge in my arm with the blood and alcohol on it. And the next day, I took that. I kept it because I knew then, I was in hell. I was tying myself with a sheet to keep from screaming because I knew they'd finish me off then with Halidol. So the woman in the room with me who disappeared, I think I said that. I don't know what happened to her. Maybe they just moved her room, but that wasn't what was implied to me at the time. Um, she told me, she said it was 3 o'clock in the morning. They don't come in and take blood and do things like that in the morning. Well, I pretty much knew that myself. But the condition I'm in, I'm fighting for my life. And they came in and said that the urine analysis, and that's the only thing that had been done, and I'd gone for the tox screen to neutralize whatever had been given me. I found out later it's antifreeze. So they were going to get a clean catch. So what I did with it was I put a toothbrush that I'd use with toothpaste because I got it. I know what they're doing. So I put the sponge with alcohol in my blood in it, and I dunked it into the clean catch. Gave it back to him, took it out, gave it back to him. So now that my ex-husband has suddenly come back, and I think that was on a Thursday, and I remember he came in and he said, "Will you come back and be my wife?" And I said, "No." So he walked out the door. He comes back Friday morning, and he talks with Dr. Beecham. They're talking over me, not to me. Dr. Beecham, and I know then that John's in on it. Not just that he stole my apartment. I didn't have time to think of that. But the Beecham started talking directly to him, and I told him, I said, he's my ex. So they knew this. It didn't matter. He told John right in front of me, he said, well, the urine analysis was contaminated, the first one. We gave her a clean catch, and it was fine. I looked at him, and I said, you're telling me that clean catch was fine? And he grinned. They were getting off on it. I didn't say anything else. I knew to stop. And I'm leaving out all that happened there at that place. It's so hideous. I do wish you talk about. Anyway, my ex-husband then takes me out, and I think I'm going home. Well, I didn't. It's Friday, and he takes me, and I have no money. He takes me to Ridgewood or Ridgecrest or something. It's privately owned by doctors who are alcoholics. At least this is what I was told. So I can't go home. He's going to have me locked up, and they've got it set to where it looks good. So I am so terrified, and I feel so horrible. And quite frankly, with all that happened, I thought my kids are going to be killed. And now that I know that they would have been, not necessarily because of the book, but because they are heirs after me, Mark and then Scott. Not William, not this woman that's sitting there that sold out her country, and me. And by the way, Anastasia is my cousin, just like she's related, Tsar Nicholas, to Elizabeth. And I hate to say anybody's related to her. But they actually killed Anastasia, and it was her, the Blue Ridge Mental Health, May the 4th of 85. And I later came here October of 86 to Roanoke, and Charlottesville is near here, and yeah, they did kill her with Halidol. How's that? So the mental health system was used against her too, and they burned her mom and dad and siblings. So and wonder who did that? Woodrow Wilson, the American government? Think so. And by the way, this Elizabeth has just stood there and lived this lifestyle that she doesn't have to answer to anybody. She just has a good time. Spending money that's not hers. But my ex-husband, and I have no money now, so it's after 12 o'clock, and it's the next Sunday, that's Friday, so it's Passover, I guess. And the offices, they say, are closed that they have to go to make sure the insurance is okay. Well, my ex-husband is putting me in on his insurance. And I'm trying to tell them no. Well, they're not listening to me. So I'm left there. He left me there. And a Dr. McClarty was the doctor I saw. And thank God he didn't give me any psychotic drugs or anything, and he was reasonably nice. So the next day, my ex-husband shows up, and I think he's going to get me out and take me home. Well, I got out to the car, and he and Philip, I grew up thinking was a half-brother, he's with the ATF, and I loved him. I took care of him, and I don't know, I'll just leave it at that. I know that he had a chip put in him, and at the time it was in 60, I think it was about 63. It was a little bit, what about 63? Yeah. He went to Dr. Philip Christensen, who put root canal, did a root canal, and Philip was the most loving person. I mean, he was the nice thing when I was growing up. And his attitude, everything suddenly changed. And I didn't think much about the root canal until later in life when I knew about mind control and all that. And now they don't even need chips or any of that. So anyway, Philip and Nancy, his wife, and my ex-husband in Lina Dempsey, the psychopath that I'm being told is my mother, are there at her car. And Nancy, Philip's wife, says, we can't help you because the people that Philip worked for are a part of who's doing it to you. They shoved me in her car in that condition, and she took off, and it was a living hell. I begged to go back to my sons. And I had no money. I had no place to go. My ex-husband had put me in there. He had my apartment and my kids. And quite frankly, my children did not know what had really happened. Anyway, you can't tell it all in here. So she stopped in front of Crestwood Hospital. This is a regular hospital. And she said if I ran, it's about 9 o'clock at night. And she said if I ran, she'd have the cops lock me up and use a court order to lock me up in the mental. So they're using the mental health. Is a murder weapon, really. It's exactly what it is. So I'm locked up in there. That's, by that time, that's Saturday the 5th of April, about 10 o'clock at night now. I'm locked up there. And nobody will get Carol Johnson for me, the friend, who was about the only one I could call at that time. And I'm locked up, and it's hell. The next day, a Dr. Bill Goodson comes in, and he asked me, he has his secretary with him, he said, are you going to write about me in your book? Well, I thought, how do you even know about it? And if anybody can know the condition I'm in, my brain's baked. They call John Kennedy assassination. What do you think they've done to me? And they make a hero out of him. But I'm there, and Bill Goodson does not do the talk screen either. The talk screen has never been done yet. So it's Easter morning, the 6th of April of 80. And the following Wednesday, the talk screen is done. And remember, I'm leaving out all the things that are so horrible, horrific, that's being done. You can't believe people are actually doing this, engaging in this mess. So the talk screen would go to Alabama, state of Alabama. It's done in Huntsville. Rather, it came back from Georgia, Atlanta. Now, Bill Goodson was the one that took it finally. Okay, I went in for it April the 1st, and this is the 6th, 7th, about the 9th. It's finally done. It comes back showing antifreeze in me, ethylene glycol, and then there was some other stuff that I don't even know what it was. I couldn't get a copy of it. They wouldn't let me have it. I finally was able to get out with this woman trying to keep me in there, Lina Dempsey. I had to go to her trailer, and when I got there, I was scared to death of her. I knew she was a horrible woman all my life. I knew she was trying to kill me, and my ex-husband. and Lois Pearson, where I spent the night, and the antifreeze got put in me.